Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to another Farming Simulator 17 map tour. And today we're looking at Who Dat Who Dare Ranch, the latest offering from Something on My Shoe 2. This map has just gone live on the console mod hub. I imagine it's gone live simultaneously on the PC mod hub. They may have had it for a day or two already, I'm not entirely sure. But it is now live on consoles. This is kind of the spiritual successor to American Outback, I think, is probably the best way to describe this map. It's got elements of Mustang Valley and elements of American Outback, but leans more heavily towards Outback than it does Mustang Valley. Obviously, Golden Days of Farming, another map from Something on My Shoe 2, is very much a completely different style of map. Very small, very structured in the way that the fields are laid out. This is a little bit different. So let's jump in and take a look at it. And let's open up the PDA. And there's our field locations. As you can see, we start with just the one field, field 12. There are 26 fields on this map. And the roads themselves, they're kind of gridded up, but it's very kind of limited in the actual road space. You know, there's not a lot of connecting roads. I mean, you've got a lot of little dirt roads around farms and stuff, but a lot of the sort of lines that you see on there that immediately jump out of you are obviously the yellow lines, and that's the rail line. And it's not multiple lines, it's one single railway line that loops around, doubles back on itself. So you can ride the train on an entire loop around everything on that map there. It covers everywhere, and that's really great. You know, that to me is how a train should have been done. You know, when Giants did the train on Goldcrest Valley, couldn't remember the name of the map for a second then. When they did the train on Goldcrest Valley, it was a great concept, but it was poorly executed. You know, you had one stop that you could actually do something really with your grains at the on the train on the left-hand loop, and it was a small loop. And you had the sawmill on that loop as well. And then on the right-hand loop, you had nothing. No sell points, no interactions. It was just a way to move your grain from one side of the map to the other. But it was a very long and convoluted method to do it. It would have been better if they'd had a single track that kind of flowed through the map a little bit. And I think Shu has cottoned onto that idea and really taken it to task and taken it to town on this map. As you can see, that railway line that goes around there is pretty comprehensive. A little while back on my Facebook page, I actually posted a video that Shu had made of the train running a complete loop, and without going into silly speeds on his train journey, you know, keeping it at a sensible kind of movement speed, it took him 12 minutes to do a full loop of the entire railway line. 12 minutes. That shows you just how much movement there is on the train line there. But enough about the train line, let's take a look at the map itself. So as we spawn in here, we have this really nice looking little farmhouse here, and we have some light switch controls here. And these are actually for the barns that you see over there. So these barns here, the lights around these buildings are all controlled by these switches here. I thought initially that they might light up these lights and these lights. They don't. They are for the interior lights of these barns here. So you can see there's no lights on in there at the moment, and I'm not entirely sure which ones switch on which. So I'm just going to turn them all on. There's 3 separate switches, and now you can see we have lights on inside these buildings. That's what those switches control. So over here we have a water tower, as you can see. We have a little water reservoir back here as well. This is an element that's kind of taken from Mustang Valley, where we had the big water reservoir with the big, you know, sort of dirt wall separating it from the water tower. Here is our water tower here. No doubt we will have to pay for that water. Lots of big storage here on the farm. We've got these big open sheds here, and we have a workshop here as well. We do have a little bit of flicker. You know, this is something I have seen on Shoes maps before, where you can see that, you know, stuff is just kind of flickering in and out of the textures. as they're kind of overlapping with each other. But it's not too bad. That's pretty much the only real flicker I've seen so far. I haven't done a lot of exploring on this map just yet. So as you can see, lots and lots of storage. We've got a fuel dump just there, as you can see. And some more little storage just over there as well in those small shelters. And this is a really nice thing here. This is a farm incinerator that we have. This is a little sell point on our farm here, and it's not a barn as such, but it works in the same way as a barn. So you can come up here and you can drop into these rollers. You can see that there's a little bit of a texture issue, I think, on the colouring here. It's very dark. You can't really see what's going on. Or maybe that'll light up when stuff is dropped in here. I haven't thrown anything in to check yet. But this is the farm incinerator, and here we can sell manure, and we can also sell hay, straw, and grass here as well. So if we go along the top, you can see here's the farm incinerator. We can also sell wood chips at this point as well. And this is our little on-farm sell point, our incinerator here. Really nice to see something like that on the map. We don't see things like that on console very often. Here's our starting equipment. We have a case 1455 with a Amazona sprayer for the rear tank, no front tank. The small Great Plains seeder. As we whiz around the corner, we have the case 1660 axial flow combine, complete with header. That's it for our starting vehicles. We do have a little bit more equipment, but not much, and that is located just over here. So you can see that we have a small cultivator, a small plough, and then in here we have a very small Metal Tech trailer. Sorry, Farm Tech, not Metal Tech. And that's it. That's our entire starting equipment. So again, like American Outback and like Mustang Valley, very small, limited equipment. Not a huge amount of stuff that we start with. But plenty and plenty of storage. We've got silos over here, and we have these really big silo tanks laid out in a configuration very similar to the one that we had on Mustang Valley, but with a lot smaller capacity. So this is our tip point here. Is our drop-in ramp, and then obviously our downspout, and this has a 100,000 litre capacity. So given the sheer number of silos that you see dotted around, that's surprisingly small and a little disappointingly small as well, considering how big some of these fields are. I think it would have been nicer to have had a larger capacity for our silos. Maybe that'll get upped in the future. Fingers crossed if Shu has to do an update, and I think he will, and I'll explain why a little later. Then hopefully we'll get maybe a tweak to the capacity on the silos, because it is a little small at just 100,000. Let's take a look at what else we have around our farm. So that's pretty much it. There's no animals down here. There's no chickens, anything like that. We have our incinerator, we have our fuel point, and the rest is just storage. And that's pretty much all we have down here. Our animals are all the way at the top over here, so we'll have a look at those in a moment. We also have an animal dealership here next to a sell point. Over here we have our town, and this is where our shop is, so it's actually really close to where our farm is, as you can see. And we have a couple of different shops. We have a bakery and a spinnery, and we also have our chickens over here as well. Now we're going to jump to the shop because I'm going to lease a truck to do the tour. So we have a Morgan's Massive Motors over here, and we have a few of the Goldcrest style buildings that have been brought in to create a very, very small little town scene here. And you can see one of the trains there parked up in the background. Let's just quickly lease a truck so we can get on with our tour. So just going to turn off automatic engine start, because that drives me crazy. So let's take a look at these sell points that are here first of all. So this one is the first one here. This is the bakery. So again, just a little ramp on the ground for us to tip our grain into. And then here's our spinnery just next door. Oops, a little bit clumsy there. There's our spinnery. So again, just drive into the box to sell our wool. And then our chickens are just here on the roadside. And as you can see, we do have nuggets on the map as well. So at the end of the video, we'll pop up with the location of all 100 nuggets. So yep, there we go. There's our little chicken coop. Nice and easy to see where the eggs are going to spawn this time around, which is good. Just going to grab that nugget there as well. We have a few of these little sort of short hangar-style storage areas, as you can see just there, for maybe storing trucks or something, you know, whatever you want to put in there. Let's jump back, and we're coming up on our starting field, field 12. This is the one and only field that we start with. There's another nugget just there. There's a couple of nuggets along this road, actually. It's quite a nice little way to grab a few easy nuggets, is just driving along this road and picking them up as you drive along. See, there's another one there on the left, and another one a little bit further up on the right, just there as well. So in the space of, what, 30 seconds, we're up to 6 nuggets already. And this is our starting field, so it's quite a decent size. You know, it's not horrendously small, it's not, you know, overly big, but it's a good size starting field. I think it's even bigger than field 1 that we started with on American Outback. So that's a nice size starting field, but it is the only field that we have. So a little bit of purchasing is required to kind of get yourself up and running. And we have this canal that kind of just feeds through the center of the map, like this. So we have these bridges, and here we come up to the sawmill, and we have these wonderful little gates, and you have to manually open and close them. So we're going to drive through into our sawmill area, and our sawmill is huge. It's a massive sawmill, really, really big. So we have plenty of storage over here. You could turn this into a full-on base for your logging operation over here. You've got plenty of buildings with storage, with working lights on them as well, as you can see. More storage just here, again with working lights on the inside. Some more storage just here, and a sell point. And I'm not 100% certain, but I get the feeling this may be a log sell point, you know, for selling on the ground if you're bringing stuff in by trailer. I think that's our log sell point just there. You can see we've got more storage just there as well. And then this is the wood chip sell point, and really nice to see the incorporation of another mod that we got a little while back. We have the raisable ramp mod, so that we can actually climb up if we wanted to, and tip into there. I haven't tried. Obviously, I don't have any wood chips, and it would kind of indicate with those box markings that, you know, we can't actually tip into there. But it's nice to see that the feature is on the map. And it would be even nicer if we could actually tip into there. I'm just not 100% certain we can. I think it's there to kind of create an illusion, because as well, you know, if you look, if we just open that back up again, you see that the box extends to here. I think it basically tips off to the edge of this box, and that's where it sells, in that little gap there. So I'll have to try that out when I actually get some sawdust. And give that a try. More of these barriers here, as you can see, and they don't open automatically. You have to get out and swing them round yourself. I like those swing barriers, they're quite nice. So we're going to head sort of north, and you can see that the sawmill carries on. In fact, actually, let's jump over here as well. This is also kind of part of the sawmill over here. So, as you can see, it's absolutely huge. We've got area up here for another sell point, and this is where I think the map needs patching, because if you look, there's nothing showing on the little PDA here on the screen. There's no sell point showing here. If we check the main map, there's no sell point showing here either. It's just nothing there. So I think this is, you know, a bugged area. We've got a grain retrieval point here, so maybe this is just a silo. It's possible this is a silo. Again, I don't have grain to check, but you know, we have a tip point just here. That looks like it might be a grain retrieval point, so maybe you could make this a second farm. We'll have to explore that option a little bit more in depth. We do have a little bit more storage over here as well, as you can see, another one of these big barn sheds, and then we have one of those pole swing gates leading out onto that field there. And that's the only way you can go from there, because the only other part of the map around there is the railway line itself. So maybe this isn't actually the sawmill. Maybe this is just a secondary farm location. but we do have a lot of logs over here. You can see we've got a double rail line that crosses over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drive across the centre, across that little bridge there, and show you the second half of the sawmill, which is over here, and it's only reachable by rail, and this is our rail sawmill, and this is where our mill pond is, I think, because another nugget just there. Let's grab that. Up to 7 already. As we come over here, there is no real road access that I've found yet. There's no real road sell point, and this is a wood sell point for the train, but as you can see, the box starts here and finishes on the other side there, so you're tipping, basically you're picking up your logs off the crane, off the trailer with the crane and dumping into the water. So this is why I think this is the mill pond here. Again, some of it's not entirely well marked out, but it's a long little stretch there, as you can see. And then we kind of bobble our way over these train tracks. Let's grab that nugget there as well. The train tracks actually are really sturdy this time around. I mean, one of my biggest sort of problems with the train tracks on American Outback was that they didn't look particularly good, and they jutted up in the middle of the road when you tried to cross the roads. These look much more convincing. They're much nicer rail tracks, really, really nicely laid out, really sturdy, really give you that kind of rough bounce when you drive on them, because you shouldn't really be driving on them. And they look really sturdy, and I like the road crossings. You've got those little ramps to have a nice smooth line, so you're not catching low-hanging trailers or headers with the that are unfolded and with the wheels down. They're not catching on those rails. They'll smoothly glide over that. So it's nice to see. It's a real improvement on the rails that we had and the railway line that we had in American Outback. That was just a cosmetic railway line. It wasn't functional. This one is a functional railway line, so it looks a lot nicer. So as we come up here, there's a little bit of storage, just dotted off every now and again as we go along here. We've got field 7 coming up, the other side there, the other side of that little ridge, the other side of the railway, and then opposite that is a little bit of storage, which is what we're coming up to along here. And then from there, we're going to check out the animals. So here's our little bit of storage. As you can see, we've got a couple of little bays here with one of these giants locations, and I tell you what, there's quite a few of these on this map, and they work really well with the scenery. They just look right. I think that looks spot on for this kind of setting and this location. And then we have a rusted fuel tank there as well, so we've got a small staging area if you want to keep a little couple of bits of equipment up here. We also have a nice sort of pasture here for us to work on, and the pasture, as you can see, is green. We have green grass that we can work on. So that was one of the biggest complaints I think a lot of people had, was the map was just too brown with both Mustang Valley and American Outback. You can see already there's a lot more colour in these maps. Just another nugget there. A lot more colour. We've got a lot more of this green grass popping up as decorative bits, and we now actually have proper green fields that we can get in there and mow for grass as well. So it's really nice to see that those have been brought in. Just add a little bit more life and colour to the map. And here we are with our animals. So first up we have the sheep. So a nice decent sized little sheep field. We've got our grass trough and our water trough just there. And then as we open up in here, these take a little bit longer to open, these gates. We drive in here, and this is our interaction point here for our sheep. So if we just jump out, you get your dialogue box, and you can buy your sheep direct here, and obviously there's your kind of gate for them. As we drive up here, we have a secondary farm up here, which is a really nice, again, really nice laid out little farm. It's got a nice kind of old, worn-out, rusted kind of feel with these rusted gates, and the ground. You can see the dirt coming through the concrete where it's cracked, and you've got the rusted fuel tanks and these old hangars. They just work. It looks really good. It looks really, really nice. and a really large storage shed just there. And as we drive along here, we have our manure pit for the pigs. And if we just go down on foot down here, we have our straw point for our pigs just here. This is our interaction box for our pigs. This is where we can pick up and drop off. And here is our slurry point. And then you can just see just over there we have a food trough and we have a water trough as well. So nice little location for the pigs. And then we have the cows, and they have their own grass field as well. Let's just jump back to the truck this way. We have a BGA bunker available to us up here so we can make our own silage. More of these sort of giant sheds, and then we have our manure and slurry point for our cows just here. Hop over the ramp and we have our cow shed just here. And then the cow area is also kind of extended into here as well. So this is our interaction box for cows. So that to me suggests that we're going to have cows in here and in there as well. That all of this area is going to have cows in. So we've got a really nice large sized area for cows. So let's just open up these gates and drive out of here. See where we're going to go next on the map. We're going to go over to the Ferguson grain elevator, and this is a sell point for the train. So we'll have to do a little bit of driving down the rails to get to this one. Let's whiz past that car there. We've got a nice little lake over here, as you can see. And you can see we've got a little bit of forestry in the background there. We've got some trees that are available to kind of cut down in the distance. There's quite a few sort of dotted around here and there. You've got some trees over here, and along that bank there you've got some trees up there as well. But this is our sell point here. You know, there is kind of road access, but it's really only for that workshop. You know, we've got another nugget there as well, and a little bit of maybe putting some sheds in that concrete area. The sell point is actually here, as you can see on the train line. That's our sell point just there. So it's great to see that we have you know, more than one stop for the train. That it actually has more of a purpose than it did in Goldcrest, because, as I said, the concept in Goldcrest Valley was good. It was just poorly executed, in my opinion. So we actually have a train that has a little bit more purpose this time out, which is really good to see. More nuggets, as you can see, along the side of the roads. They're really not too difficult to find. You can just drive along the roads and you'll come across them just roadside quite quickly and quite easily. As we head down, a lot of people have been a little critical in the past. As you see, we've got a nice forest area over here as well. A lot of people have been quite critical that Shoes maps are just boring and flat and there's no elevation change in them at all. Well, this one at first glance does appear to be a little bit sort of flat and level, but there are some fields with some hills, and we'll be seeing one of those in just a moment. But the reason I'm bouncing along here, and I might be bouncing the wrong way, I think it's this way. Yeah, here we go. We have this area over here. We've got a nice little sort of scene over here. We've got some little houses and a little well just there, or a hot tub maybe. Got a little bit of storage over here with some more sheds, and somewhere along here, I thought it was along this road here. I'm one too low. I need to go up one. We actually have a sell point. So you can see we've got a sell point just there. This one is loaded, marked as White's Grains, and we also have David Brown's rail loader. This is a sell point for the trains, but you can gain access to it by road. And this is, I think, a beaten potato drop-off point. So you've got this bouncy little road coming in here. You've got a slurry sell point just there by the look of it, and a manure sell point. And you've got a little loader here, a little auger to feed into the trucks with beets and potatoes. You can see you've got potatoes in there right now, and you've got this lovely little conveyor system that goes up and over towards the train. So this is a really nice little sell point. I quite like this. Just be careful, because I did actually manage to get my truck slightly stuck going down this ramp the first time I drove on here, like that. exactly like that. So you just need to be careful of those little pronged areas there. If you don't get it lined up properly, you can get caught and just not go anywhere. So we're going to turn around. In fact, actually, no, we'll carry on this way because the next stop we can look at is the BGA bunker. And this thing's big. It's really, really, really big. So we bounce across here, skid through. And we're going to head down. You can see we've also got another sell point over the other side of field 12. Railroad Mill, which is just over there, look. And then just coming up here is our BGA. And this is a nice little feature as well. We have barriers that come down, sirens that go off, and lights that flash when a train goes near. Unfortunately, the AI traffic just doesn't seem to care. It's just going to drive straight through those barriers anyway. But you can see because the train is still quite close, those barriers are down, the sirens are going off, or the bell's dinging, and obviously the lights are flashing. That's quite a nice little touch. Again, that's something new for consoles. I like that. So here we have our BGA, and this thing's big. It's very big. And we have a whopping number of bunkers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 bunkers. A lot of bunkers, as you can see. Really, really big BGA. As we whiz around here, one thing I do like to see here at the BGA is the fact that we have this large storage shed. So we can now store things like front loaders and wheel loaders and other equipment here that we would generally use mainly at the BGA. You could even maybe, if you wanted to, store your forage harvester in here as well. So it's really great to see that we have, you know, space for storage. And then as we drive down here, you know, we have another entry point just over here as well. So 2 different entry points on the road. And we have another sell point just down here, John Dee's Grains. Plus we also have, as you can see, some more storage down here. Some fertilizer and seed pallets and another fuel dump. So another little mini staging area if you wanted one. And then here is our secondary, or sorry, our secondary. Here is another sell point here. This is John Dee's Grains. So nice and simple. Little drive up ramp, pop your grain in there, and then pop off again. Really straightforward and simple. I'm going to grab this nugget and see if that's number 10. It is. That's nugget number 10. So there's the rest of the nuggets that you can see dotted all over the map. Let's actually zoom in onto this one so it's a little bit clearer to see. So again, this is what I was saying with Shoes Maps. He likes to put them roadside. You can see we've got a nice concentration of nuggets running along this road. And don't forget, we have picked up a couple along here. Same along here. We picked up a couple along here, but there's still nuggets all the way along this roadside here. Same up there, look. And coming down here as well, more nuggets along the road. A huge cluster of nuggets just there. So that little stretch of road, you're going to get your 10 in seconds just going down there. We've actually got a little cluster of nuggets down here as well, as you can see. Got 3 down the end there by the bottom of field 13. So really straightforward and easy to find. There's no nuggets there, I think, that will give anybody any real difficulty in locating them. I want to show you field 21. Because field 21 is one of the fields I've noticed that isn't flat. So we're going to sort of whiz along here. You'll see a difference in height as well between, you can see here, this is a little bit higher. You can see a little bit of sloping there. Nothing substantial, but here we get a little bit of difference in height. And if we drive up, get rid of that, you can see straight away we have difference in ground. You can see where it dips and where it rises. You can see that it's uneven all the way along the top there. It's at a different height to this field there, which does look pretty flat. But there are fields like this dotted around. Not all of them are like this. The majority of them are pretty flat. But we do have some elevation changing going on in our fields, which is great to see. It's a kind of like an evolution of Shoes map making, where we're starting to get some terrain onto these big flat maps. We're actually starting to get some little bits of variation in the field itself. So it's really nice to see that. You know, it's just a natural progression, I think. And again, you can see, just driving along, you can see the slope in the hills and where it dips and where it rises. So yeah, as I say, really nice to see those changes starting to make their way in. We've got something over here. I think we've got another sell point over here that again isn't listed, although this could possibly be a farm, I suppose. But we're going to drive in and take a look. I think it's another sell point, but you never know. You can see we've got some storage stuff over here. We've got a drop-off point, and this may again be actually another farm location, because we do have a collection point here as well with a little bit more of that flicker. So this may actually be, again, a secondary farm location. I'll need to bring some grain down here at some point and give it a proper check, give it a proper try. But yeah, so plenty of potential locations there, with even maybe built-in silos for us to play about with. And there's just one last thing to look at, which we haven't looked at yet, and that is the animal dealership. So we're going to make our way over there. So we're going to need to hang a left at this next crossroads, go along a bit, and then drive up. And if you haven't seen the video on the trains and you want to see it, I will link that to the description of this video down below. It'll link to my Facebook page where it's posted, and you'll be able to watch the video in its entirety. So it's a 12-minute video of the train running a full loop around this map. You know, one single train line that loops everywhere, as you can see. Takes about 12 minutes at comfortable speeds of around 20 to 30 miles an hour, nothing breakneck. And here we go. Here is our animal dealership, and you can see we've got lots and lots of static animals kind of just dotted around in these pens either side of the railway. And again, I like to see this. I don't care that they're static, that they're not moving. I like to see that we have stuff in these pens. It breathes life into the map. You know, in the past we've had maps that have just been very sterile, where you've just had empty pens everywhere. And I love to see maps that actually do put, animals in them, even if they're kind of levitating cows, as you can see. He's actually hovering just above the ground. I don't care. I really don't care that these are all magical floating cows, because it's that we can actually jump inside of. Look, I have a cow's face. I really don't care, because I just love to see life on the map like that. You know, it looks really, really nice to see animals in animal pens where they should be, rather than just empty pens. It makes it look like this is an actual business where, animals are available to be bought and sold, rather than just, an empty husk of a business that once was and is no more kind of thing. Oop, nearly get run over there. So just over here, this is our other sell point, and I'm the wrong side of it. And again, it's just a drive up, tip-off ramp here. So we do have a lot of sell points, as you can see. So we have the BGA bunker, we have David Brown's rail loader, David Brown's rail loader for liquid manure, and for solid manure. Those are all pretty much at one location, I think, but just obviously different sell points within there. We have the Denton Bakery, which is a grain sell point. We have John Dee's Grains. We have the Railroad Mill, which you can see is a dedicated rail sell point. We also have the Ferguson Grain Elevator, which is a dedicated rail-only sell point. We have the Sawmill, the Town Spinnery. We have White's Grains. And obviously we also have our incinerator at the farm as well. So plenty of different locations to sell all of your different products, as you can see. And it's great to see that the BGA takes wood chips as well. As well as taking slurry manure and silage, it can take wood chips as well. So really, really versatile with how you can sell your grains. It's a really nicely laid out map. You know, there's plenty of decent field sizes there to work on their own, but there's also some fields that are going to be just perfect, I think, for combining. Look at fields 3 and 4 here. They're just screaming out to be linked together. Maybe even 23 and 24 as well. You know, you could link those. Obviously, some of these you can't. You've got railway in the way, or you've got road in the way, or even, you know, a canal in the way. But again, you've got plenty of these sort of meadows dotted around here as well, where you can get your grass, and it's green this time out. It's not orange or brown or dried out. Green grass. You know, a lot of people were critical that we didn't have green grass. Now we do. You know, a lot of people were critical that we didn't have any undulation in hills. Now we do. 21 is a prime example of that. And while I haven't checked out all of the fields, I'm sure there are going to be another couple out there that have some elevation in them as well. So this is very much, I think, an evolution of American Outback in the sort of the number of fields that we have to work and the kind of way that they're laid out, and the road network is a little bit like Mustang Valley with just long straight roads. But you know, you can see elements of both of those two kind of previous maps, but they link together really nicely. And this is, in my opinion, Shu's best work to date. You know, as a map with a lot of character, a lot of colour. You know, for a map that is still set effectively in a kind of a deserty kind of environment. And I'm going to have an awful lot of fun with this. You know, I was going to replace American Outback in a couple of months' time. I'm going to start running this map pretty much straight away, and I think American Outback is going to move to this map here. So I'm going to start recording a new Let's Play here on Who Dat Who Dare Ranch. I need to come up with a better name for that. I can't stand the name. I'm sorry, but the whole name thing came about because it was originally a map with no name. Somebody in the comments on the forum suggested Who Dat Who Dare, and for some reason that just resonated with Shu, and he decided to call it Who Dat Who Dare Ranch. I don't know why. I can't stand the name, but I love the map, so I'll have a much different sounding name for when I do my Let's Play. But there we go. That is the latest map from Something on My Shu 2, Who Dat Who Dare Ranch, available now on consoles and PC, and I highly recommend that you give it a go. Thanks for watching. I'm Jim Bob, and I will catch you all again very soon.